Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we squeeze big game experiences out of low-end PCs and see just how far the little guy can go. Today we've got PowerWash Simulator 2 in the hot seat, running on an Intel i3 processor with no dedicated graphics card. Yep, integrated graphics only, resolution set to 720p, most settings on low, with a couple of medium tweaks. The first few seconds of the footage already show you the visuals and display settings, so we'll jump straight into how it actually runs, how smooth it feels, and whether you can enjoy this cleaning sim even if your PC is barely hanging on. Spoiler, cleaning never looked so scrappy. So here's what I did. Resolution at 1280 by 720. Most graphics options on low, but I left model quality, texture quality, and soap quality at medium, just to give it a fighting chance. And with that setup, I consistently got around 50 frames per second, often hitting 55 plus when things were calm. In graphics-intensive scenes, lots of dirt sprays, big surfaces, dynamic reflections, it dipped to the low 40s. That tells me that even with integrated graphics, the game is playable. You won't get buttery 60 FPS all the time, but you'll get a mostly smooth experience. Loading times were decent. The maps popped in fairly quickly without huge stall waits, which is a good sign for a modest system. I did notice occasional stutters when a big job kicked in. Think lots of debris flying and soap effects. But those were brief and didn't kill the flow. So if you're on an i3 and no GPU, yes, you can run this. You just adjust your expectations and the settings. In fact, I found the medium settings for textures and soap were a nice balance. You retain enough visual flair that the game still looks good without crippling the performance. Now, to the fun part, actually playing the game. From the moment I fired up the pressure washer and aimed that first stream of water, the satisfaction hit me right away. There's just something incredibly calming about taking something absolutely filthy and making it spotless again. The cleaning loop. Aim, spray, rinse, reveal, still delivers that oddly addictive rhythm. It's the kind of game where you tell yourself, just one more wall, and suddenly an hour has disappeared. PowerWash Simulator 2 takes what made the first game so addictive and adds just enough new layers to make it feel fresh without breaking that zen-like simplicity. The environments are more diverse now, from dirty playgrounds and greasy vehicles to full-blown construction sites and huge open areas that test your patience and your nozzle control. Even on low settings, the sense of detail is impressive. Grime and mud have distinct textures, and when you start blasting them off, the transformation feels genuinely rewarding. It's one of those games where you tell yourself, just one more wall, and suddenly an hour has disappeared. The improved dirt detection is a game changer. In the first game, you'd spend ages squinting at tiny corners trying to find that last 0.1% of dirt that kept your job from completing. Here, you've got a little icon system that highlights those missed spots once you're close to being done. And trust me, it saves a lot of frustration. It makes the gameplay flow smoother, and you don't feel punished for missing a single pixel of muck. Even at my modest 720p settings, the visuals hold up nicely. The reflections on wet surfaces, the shimmer of sunlight bouncing off freshly cleaned metal, and even the subtle sound of water changing tone, depending on what you're hitting, it's surprisingly immersive. You'd think a low-end PC would struggle with all those particle effects, but the developers have done a good job of optimizing them. You get that soft, foamy spray effect without tanking your frame rate, which is always a win for integrated graphics players. The physics feel tighter too. Spraying water now has a bit more impact. It reacts more naturally to surfaces and grime buildup. The nozzle variety is still here, wide spray for big surfaces, narrow spray for those stubborn corners, and switching between them feels intuitive. The upgraded soap system adds a little more strategy. Some surfaces respond better to specific soaps, and you can actually see the difference in how grime melts away. It's small, but satisfying. That said, not everything shines. The key binding system is still weirdly limited. There's no proper key remapping yet, which in 2025 feels like a strange oversight. Especially when you're on a laptop or using a compact keyboard, you really feel that lack of customization. It's not game-breaking, but it's clunky. The UI also feels like it could use a bit more polish, some menus overlap, and if you're multitasking or switching windows, it sometimes bugs out and doesn't respond immediately. Again, small issues, but noticeable. And then there's multiplayer. It was one of the most exciting promises for the sequel, but right now it's hit or miss. Some players have reported desyncs, lag, or full crashes when trying to host or join friends. I played solo for this test, and performance was steady. No real frame drops or latency issues, but the moment you add online play, results can vary wildly, especially on low-end systems without a GPU. If you're planning to team up with friends for a cleaning marathon, maybe wait until a few patches roll out. Beyond that, the actual level design deserves praise. Each area feels thoughtfully built. You can tell the devs wanted to make every surface, nook and cranny count. Some levels are pure relaxation, others sneak in challenges that push you to plan your cleaning path more efficiently. You might find yourself strategizing which part to wash first just to minimize those long nozzle runs. And that's part of the fun. It's not just mindless spraying. There's a rhythm to it, almost like a slow puzzle. Mechanically, the game feels smoother than the first one. Movement and rotation are more responsive, even at lower frame rates, and the camera doesn't jitter or lag when you pan quickly, which makes a huge difference on a low-end machine. The developers clearly optimized the engine a bit, because despite no dedicated GPU, I didn't experience major input delay or sluggish response times. The controls are snappy enough that you can zone out into that perfect state of focus. Just you, the grime, and the hiss of water. The sound design deserves a nod. It's crisp and satisfying. The whoosh of water, the splatters, and that subtle difference when you hit metal versus wood. And then there's the quiet hum in the background, that kind of white noise that weirdly relaxes you. You wouldn't expect it, but it's actually therapeutic. Even after hours of cleaning, the sound doesn't grate, it's just peaceful. If you love the first PowerWash Simulator, this sequel is basically that same cozy experience, but slightly more refined. You'll notice little touches, a few interactive elements in the environment, familiar places from the first game making cameo appearances, and that satisfying little ding when a section is fully cleaned. It's all these micro moments that make it feel so good. Overall, even with its bugs and the occasional quirk, PowerWash Simulator 2 proves that you don't need cutting-edge hardware or hyper-realistic visuals to enjoy a game. You just need that satisfying feedback loop. And in that department, it absolutely delivers. On an i3 with integrated graphics, it's surprisingly smooth, consistent, and relaxing. Once you settle into that rhythm of spray, scrub, and shine, you completely forget you're on a low-end machine. And that's the highest compliment a performance test can give. In conclusion, if you have a low-end PC, say an i3 processor and no dedicated graphics card, and you've wondered whether you're stuck with indie titles or 2D games, let this be a green light. You can play PowerWash Simulator 2, enjoy it, and have fun. The performance is solid for its class. The visuals still deliver enough charm even at reduced settings, and the gameplay, that sweet cleaning loop, remains satisfying. There are caveats. You won't max out everything, you'll accept some dips into the 40 FPS territory, you'll compromise on ultra effects, and you may face minor control or multiplayer quirks. But the positives outweigh the negatives. If you're looking for a relaxing sim that doesn't demand a high-end rig, this is a strong candidate. My thought? In the world of low-end gaming, this is one of those hidden gems where you trade ultra graphics for creativity and fun, and you're rewarded. So yes, I recommend it, with the understanding that playable doesn't mean ultra settings at 120 FPS. It means, yeah, this works, and it's kind of delightful. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review and want to see more games tested on low-end PCs, i3s, integrated graphics, the works, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let me know in the comments what game you'd like me to test next. Until next time, keep gaming, keep frugally cleaning those screens and your rigs, and I'll see you in the next one.